Hey, it's Benny, and we're checking out Train in Vain. This is a game that I designed for Roll and Write Revolution. In this game, players are going to be playing simultaneously off of the same dice roll. So the starting player is actually going to roll both of the dice, two dice, d6s, such like that. All the players are then going to use those dice to affect their game. And so you can use your dice in a bunch of different ways. Your options here for gaining actions, or your options for actions, are to apply the dice to upgrade a train. So in this case, you're going to fill in the number of pips. If I use the 6 here, I'd fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pips. I have to end exactly on 7 though, so this 3 is not going to help me finish this train. When you do finish the train, you can mark out this hex, and then you're now doing both of the actions above it, and then also the action that you've marked. Or if you have a 1 and a 1, such that if I rolled a 1 and a 1, I could then mark those two out, and now I have built this train. But I could also do a 1 this turn and maybe a 1 later in a different turn. Okay, those are two things you can do. The other thing that you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to be buying and selling goods. So back to our 6 and our 3 from our original roll. So with a 6 and a 3, I could circle the coal, which is number 3. Or I could circle a battery, which is number 6. These are both materials that trains would be transporting as far as freight goes. The other thing you could do with your roll of a 6 and a 3 here, remember you're doing two possible actions, so you don't have to use them the same way, is you can mark track on your any terrains that you can legally mark on. At the beginning of the game, you can only mark in the prairie. That's this lighter color green here. And from the start of the game, our starting railroad locomotive only can make straight lines from one side of a hex to the other side of a hex as my action. So that would be if I was drawing across the 6, I could draw a line like this, or like this. Same with a 3, I could draw a line, or a line. You don't have to connect any of your tracks to a pre-existing city or a previous track. You're actually going to be able to build track as you go, which is a pretty handy thing with this game, because you end up what seems like building in vain. You actually are then planning ahead that many more moves ahead of your opponents. The other thing that is going to happen in this game is you're going to be completing contracts. So as you can see, there's plenty of contracts down here: selling goods, connecting cities, selling one of each type of good, having a track on each type of terrain. So we have mountains, we have plains, deserts, lakes, and forests. So we have 5 different types of terrain. So plenty of things to build upon. And you're also going to be getting different things with the contracts. As soon as you complete a contract, you're going to bubble in the hex, and then you're going to get whatever the benefit is. So in this first one, sell 3 of the same goods, place city B. I should say goods. The other thing with this game is you can change your dice roll using your 2 workers. We have a conductor, and an engineer. For the handiness of the game, I've built standees that are going to be printable for the players to use. So as you can see in the video here, the engineer allows you to lay down the engineer for +2 or -2 to one of your dice's values. So that's only your dice. It's not going to affect any of the other players. So even though they're working off of 6 and 3, you could roll this 6 up to 2, so 1, 2 to a 2, or you could go to a 5 or a 4, and a 3 as well you could change. The conductor, you can lay him down to re-roll one of your dice. So I could take my 6 that I don't particularly want, re-roll it, now I have a 2. The trick with these, you can spend an action to get them both back. If you have one currently active, so let's say our conductor is currently active and our engineer has been spent. If I spent one of my dice actions, so if I spent, say, this 6, I could get back just the engineer. I wouldn't get a second conductor, okay? But if I've spent both of them, now I can have them both back if I spend the 6. So now I get both. Stand those both back. back up. These are printable, and there is a how to assemble pictogram in the game sheet. So players who are not familiar with assembling papercraft standees will have some help that way. So as the game moves along, you're going to be filling in the round markers. So on the 5th round, the 15th round, and the 25th round, players are going to be able to sell one good based on dice rolls. So based on these dice rolls, you'll be able to sell one good. At rounds 10, 20, and 25, players are going to be filling in any one legal space, so legal being based on your train upgrades. So if you've upgraded to the 3rd train, you'll be able to build on forests. You could then mark your station, that's this square with the lines on it, as one of these. So if we said, say example, this 3, we could scribble that out, draw a track in each direction. Effectively, that is now filled in. We don't have to worry about drawing another track across the 3 because there's already 6 tracks. But it's a way to very quickly connect cities. And you'll notice on the 25th round, you're going to be doing that after you've finished all of your actions for the game. So you may actually end up triggering more contracts to be completed at the end of the game. So very handy to have those things available. Certainly make use of them as you can. The game is actually going to start with the player filling in one of the cities, which would then be City A, keeping in mind with the trains you have, you're only going to build on plains. So this, for example, would be a City A. Any of them could be City A. You have 6 possible cities. That's the gray. But if you put an A here, you have access to get out. If you put an A here, you would have access to get out. If you put an A up here, you would have access to get out immediately. However, if you don't necessarily want to build tracks immediately, or you think that building trains is going to be more your speed at the beginning of the game, you may want to stick an A down here and then gradually work your way up to this diesel train where you're going to be then placing tracks on the mountains. So it's something to think about. There's a lot of planning ahead in this game, which is kind of a nice experience. However, there is the very tactical dice. So you're going to be responding to those dice as well. So keeping that in mind. So you have a little bit of a push your luck element with either getting 2 of the same value going down. You have to complete trains in this order. You can't complete, say, this modern train before you complete the steam train. Contracts, though, may be completed in any order. And then you have your scoring marker over here to the side. This is showing the values of things that will score in the game, +2 for each sold good, +1 for the players or player who sold the most of each good type. You will also be able to score 3 points for completing each contract, 3 points for each train upgrade, so that's these over here, and points for connected city pairs. So if we had, for example, City A was over here, we ended up having City B here, and we had a connection that went through this one. So if we had filled in this train, filled in all the other trains above it, etc., A and B are now connected through exactly one terrain. Now, if, for example, we've managed to do a curve this way, a curve this way, a curve this way, now City A and B are connected 2 different routes, but we're going to use the longer route because we're allowed to do that when we're looking at connected cities. Each city connection is scored exactly once, so the A-B city connection, we're going to go for the longest possible route, which is going to be this 2, 5, 1 to the A. That's actually going to score us more points. It'll score us 3 points because we're covering 2 different terrain that way. I hope you guys like this game. This has been a very, very fun game for me to design. I've always really wanted to do a train roll and write game, and I'm very, very excited to share this with y'all. If you do have questions, please feel free to leave questions in the comments. You can drop Derek or I a line on the private message as well. Look for us on Twitter. I'm at Baiting275. Derek is on there as well, or on Facebook. We're pretty try our best to be accessible. So if you guys do have any questions, please drop us a line. We really hope you enjoy Train in Vain. This is our roll and write on rails. Thanks.